All right, so Special Agent Ballance is an FBI agent specializing in cell site location information and a member of the Cellular Analysis and Survey Team, CAST. He worked alongside Moscow police detectives. He was co-located in Moscow. He assisted in search warrant applications and was communicating with the state and detectives at least as early as November 15th, 2022. He assisted the state in securing digit information. I think it's supposed to say digital, analyzing information, as well as conducting interviews as part of the investigation. Expert disclosure, December 18th, 2024. The initial disclosure stated he would testify about how cell towers work and interact with cell phones. His testimony would include what records related to personal cell phones are available and how they were used. Quote, Special Agent Ballance will testify consistent with the historical cellular phone data provided to the defendant in discovery. Special Agent Ballance will explain the methodology used to create his report, which is attached hereto as Exhibit S2B. Special Agent Ballance will discuss how call detail records provided by AT&T were used to create cell site maps contained in his report, including his corroboration of the mapping with the records provided. Special Agent Ballance will also explain in detail what the mapping in his report reflects. It is noteworthy that the state has never disclosed Special Agent Ballance's methodology used to create his report. He has never disclosed how his maps were created. Special Agent Ballance has omitted over 90% of the AT&T data during the relevant times he chose to map. There is no disclosure as to why this data was omitted. Quote, Special Agent Ballance will provide his opinion as to the general locations in which the target cellular telephones were located at various times before and after the homicides at 1122 King Road and the cellular phone's direction of travel. That testimony will rely on information furnished by cellular phone providers concerning which cell towers the cellular telephones connected with during those times. Special Agent Ballance may also testify regarding which cellular tower sectors were utilized for the relevant data and explain that the direction of the cellular tower sector utilized can indicate the general location of the relative to the tower it utilized. The state has never produced an actual opinion by Special Agent Ballance about, quote, the general location of Mr. Koberger's cellular telephone was at various times before and after the homicides at 1122 King Road and the cellular phone's direction of travel. The state has never, in bold capital letters, never produced an actual opinion by Special Agent Ballance about, quote, the general location of Mr. Koberger's cellular telephone, where it was at various times before and after the homicides at 1122 King Road and the cellular phone's direction of travel. Insane. Blueberry, right? We all did. Yeah, I think a lot of us did. I don't want to say we all did, but I'm sure everybody, at some point, yeah. So I hope you guys are listening, though. I hope you guys are actually listening to all of this with Special Agent Ballance here. I hope everybody's absorbing this, absorbing it. Okay, so on February 17th, 2025 was his rebuttal disclosure. The state responds to the defense disclosures, but in doing so, it continues to refuse to provide expert analysis and opinion. Quote, the FBI Cellular Analysis Survey Team, CAST, conducts drive testing using a Gladiator Autonomous Receiver, otherwise known as GAR, developed by Gladiator Forensics. The GAR collects the data, which is then analyzed by Gladiator forensic software. The software creates the coverage maps seen on several pages of the report. The coverage maps are created using the actual measurements taken by the GAR and interpolation using the natural neighbor algorithm, end quote. The disclosure does not state who produced the maps or how they were analyzed. The disclosure lacks an opinion about the mapping program or its production. The state has not disclosed records that verify the mapping program, nor has it stated Ballance is an expert in mapping. Special Agent Ballance went to great lengths to obtain raw drive test data in this case. Despite those efforts, he has only produced the mapping of that data for less than 5% of the relevant cell sites in his work product. There have been no disclosures as to why he has omitted 95% of the relevant coverage maps. The disclosure goes on, quote, FBI CAST examines each transaction in the raw records to determine reliability based on several factors. As an example, when an AT&T data session is initiated on AT&T's network that is not following a timeout of a previous data session, AT&T records the first cell site and then the subsequent cell sites associated with the session if applicable. End quote. The state does not disclose Special Agent Ballance's review of reliability. The state is creating wiggle room for Ballance to testify to something undisclosed at this time. This particular area impacts 7 minutes of time and exculpatory information. This is the 7 minutes between 2:47 and 2:54 a.m. The state applied for search warrants and its arrest warrant claiming Mr. Kohberger's phone stopped reporting to the network at 2:47 a.m. The state later had to concede, based on its own discovery disclosures, that the phone went off the network at 2:54 a.m. Between the time of 2:47 and 2:54, while the phone was on and receiving service, it was utilizing cell towers. The phone was not stationary and utilizing only one tower. The phone was moving during the 7 minutes. During the 7 minutes, the tower's handoff service as the phone is moving. These handoffs, once analyzed, locate the direction of movement and the location of the phone when it stops reporting at 2:54. The state asserts Special Agent Ballance mapped this data but has not produced it. The state must be required to disclose what it is not saying here. The state must not be allowed to ambush Mr. Kohberger at trial by stating something that is not grounded in record. The state goes on to say handoff data is analyzed on page 13 of the CAST PowerPoint. There is no analysis. Special Agent has not mapped a single handoff in the work product produced. These ignored handoffs are the handoffs occurring during the described 7 minutes. Analyzing those depict exculpatory evidence, right? Which is why he fucking left him out of his gas draft. That's why he left him out of his PowerPoint. Because analyzing those 7 minutes would depict exculpatory evidence. It is important to understand handoff data makes up more than 85%. It is important to understand handoff data makes up more than 85% of the defendant's AT&T network connections. Special Agent Ballance's opinion as to why he can omit those connections in one part of his report while relying on them in others must be clearly stated. The state does not provide basis or analysis for Special Agent Ballance's claim that Mr. Kohberger was using a tower that services the King Road address. Instead, they say this, quote, generating a report of all of the defendant's movements from June 2022 to December 2022 would be overly broad, unnecessary, and prolong the jury's service with the details not relevant to the prosecution. End quote. With the help of this very expert, the state sought and received AT&T phone records from Mr. Kohberger from June 2022 June 2022 through December 2022. In affidavits supporting search and arrest, the state averred that Mr. Kohberger's phone data depicted numerous occasions where it utilized a tower servicing the King Road address. The state supplied Special Agent Ballance as an expert and disclosed his PowerPoint with slides 29 and 30, claiming the same thing. It is noteworthy that the dates of this alleged behavior have been changed over the course of this expert's work. What the state has failed to do is provide the analysis of the claim. Mr. Kohberger will face his capital jury without the state backing up this claim. The state does not have connection between Mr. Kohberger and anyone that was at 1122 King Road. The state puts this information out to attempt to establish a connection. While the state has chosen not to disclose the analysis, Mr. Kohberger has disclosed the analysis. The analysis shows the falsity of the state's expert slide. The real analysis is exculpatory to Mr. Kohberger. This must be excluded from the state's presentation. Holy crap. Holy crap.